Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to go over what was going on with the channel, what was going on with me recently. A lot of things have happened, but doesn't mean I'm gonna quit doing my grind on demoing gear or anything, even though it'll be more of a challenge, but you'll hear why in a minute. So I'm sure that you've heard that everybody that's a popular YouTube guitarist has been selling off their gear recently because digital gear has gone so much better, and they just want to either utilize the digital equipment or they just want space. But either way, I got rid of a couple things. As you can tell, I only have one amp up there, not 5. I got rid of my Omega Grandifier, which was heartbreaking to me. It was the best amp I ever owned, the most expensive amp I ever owned, the only boutique amp I ever owned. But my dog and I both had to go to the hospital recently, and the only way we could afford the bill is if I sold it to pay the medical bill. So that's why I got rid of my Grandifier. But along with my Grandifier, I realized I don't use my MT15 or my what's the other amp I had? The Rev G20, which was damaged a lot, or MT15, Grandifier. I think that's all I really sold. MT15, Grandifier, and Rev G20. That being said, doesn't mean I'm gonna quit collecting amps. It's just that I found out the Fireball 60 watt is amazing to me. It was just as good as the Grandifier. Once you go over a certain price of things, the improvement of tone gets minimal. And I only spent $800 on that 60 watt Fireball as the 2200 that I bought the Grandifier for. So it just didn't make any financial sense to keep it. And I can't tell you how heartbroken I am to get rid of it, because I can't express enough how much I love that amp, and that was my favorite amp. But I'd rather be financially secure than let myself go down the rabbit hole of ignoring medical bills. Going on to the next part. While I was at the hospital, I noticed that my picking hand, I can't turn it side to side very quickly anymore. I used to be into bowling, and I used to have a shot that my arm used to go way above my head before I threw the 16-pound bowling ball. And I had a lot of curve onto it as well. I used to flick my wrist, and that over time did some damage to my wrist, my elbow, and my shoulder. And I noticed when I was at the hospital that my right arm, my most dominant arm, became the weaker arm. Now my opposite arm is the strongest, my left hand. Like, I can't play things nearly as quickly as I want to. I can't play them as good as I want to anymore. I've only gotten a little worse because of it. But I'm not gonna quit making demos. It just might take a little longer for me to do so. One of the things I noticed is that, like, taking the lids off of jars or containers, the little caps on 2-liter bottles, like anything that requires wrist torque, like, I can twist my wrist no problem. I just don't have the twitch mechanism, the flicking mechanism anymore. I can't go quickly like this. Like, my left hand's so much better. But that being said, over the past month or two, I've grown to accept the fact that I'll never be the guitar player that I want to be because of this. So I'm gonna primarily focus my demonstrations on gear and maybe some new guitars once in a while, but I'm never gonna do anything like spectacular or anything like that. I can't chug. I can barely tremolo pick. I can explain like how bad I've gotten because of this. But not for the depressing news. Well, a little more depressing news, but not depressing news. I have my Fireball 60 watt, but I also kept my dual rectifier. Thing is, I plugged in my power converter to the dual rectifier, so instead of 110 watts, it was fed 230, and I blew out the circuit, so it won't even turn on now. To be fair, the effects loop was parallel, not series, so I can put noise gate on it anyways. So, I'm taking that to a tech really soon, and I'm gonna get it modded parallel to series, and I'm gonna make sure that it's in good working condition. I just want to have a couple different options of tones. I want something a little thicker, a little low end heavy, dual rectifier, and then I want something that's a little more gainy, a little more upper mid present, which is the Fireball. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna get any more amps in the future, but until I start to improve again, I want to hold off getting any more new amps. But I will say, I just bought a new guitar for the channel. I had 250 subscribers recently. Thank you everyone that subscribed, that watches my channel. I can express how thankful I am for you guys. Like, the fact that a few of you are getting something out of my channel means something to me. So, thank you. But anyways, yes, I bought a new guitar. But it was a cheap guitar. I'm not gonna expose how cheap it was yet. But I'm gonna make it a mod project, because I have a bare knuckle Impulse sitting in my garage on my workbench, some locking tuners and a Hibshot bridge, and all I have to do is get a Graphtec nut, some new pots and knobs, and that guitar should be pretty damn good. Oh, I will say though, this guitar has only one pickup to it, and oh my god, I've always wanted one. So if I do a lot more demos with plugins and I do things like that, it's only because it's cheaper, it's more convenient to people that are in a bedroom setting, that are traveling a lot. Like, using a laptop and carrying a laptop is a lot easier, or a computer. Well, not a computer, a computer's a pain in the ass, but carrying a laptop, which is what I'm going to be focusing my plugins on, is a lot easier than lugging around a 100 watt tube amp or a 60 watt tube amp. I gotta say though, my Grandifier, which was 100 watts, doesn't weigh nearly as much as my Engel Fireball, which is only 60 watts. The Germans know how to make a great amp, but I wonder what they do to make it so heavy. Like I said earlier, I just noticed this. Because this is an amp from the UK, it has a 2-prong power cable instead of a 3-prong. And it's running on 230 volts, not 110. So I got this power converter. As you can tell, this is only a 2-prong. So the bottom here is 110 volts. Up here is 230. So when I turn it on, as long as it's plugged in and powered on, the top two sections of this power converter are 230 volts, which is just what I needed for this amp. And I'm not going to turn the amp completely on, but as you can see, it works perfectly. And yeah, just a fun fact, I've been using this amp on the ultra high gain mode, but with the gain at about 11 o'clock. And I have the bright and depth switch on. Then the EQs to taste, but either way, I just thought you'd be interested in my settings for the Angle Fireball recently. If you'd like to know more about my power converter and using amps from across these, let me know and I'll make a video about that, and I'll explain what the power converter does, how to use it. Like, to be fair, I got the amp really cheap because the 16 ohm output jacks don't work at all, and something else doesn't work on this at all. I forget what, because I don't use it. I only use 8 ohm. So this seemed like to be the perfect buy for me. The guy was like, this amp's pretty much broken. 16 ohms doesn't work. I'm like, good thing I don't use 16 ohms. It sounds perfect to me. The one section that works is the one section I need. Also, look forward to a demo of the Boss Distortion Super Overdrive 2. This one. Overdrive Distortion OS2. Look out for a video on that in the near future. To be honest, I didn't think it was much of a distortion pedal. I thought it was just an upgraded overdrive, but when I got this, I realized I was wrong. More about that story later. And by later, I mean when I make the video, I'll explain it. Not now. As for guitars, as I said earlier, I'm going to focus on collecting guitars and modding and upgrading them, and seeing what metal beasts we can make out of them. See the end result if you take a cheap guitar and put some parts into it. I only want to do that because I have about 4 or 5 above $1,000 guitars, and I think that's plenty. I have a 6-string, I have a couple 7-strings, I have an 8-string, I have another 6-string, but I don't really see the need to collect any more high-end guitars, or mid-range guitars. They're high-end to me, but they're technically mid-range guitars. But I want to save people money at this point. That was one of the promises I had for this channel. And I got kind of lost with all the other gear that I collected, and I figured that it's about time that I do some mods and upgrades on this channel and let you guys see how great the cheap guitars are. How great the cheap guitars are now these days. So I know recently I said I made a Twitch. I still have it, but I haven't posted anything on it because I found out recently, thanks to a subscriber, that there's still copyright. There's still copyright. I can't talk today. There's still copyright claims on Twitch, and I don't want to get any strikes for that or anything like that. So, if anyone knows how I could play some music on Twitch, or how I could play some music in general without getting a copyright claim, please let me know in the comments beneath, and we'll talk, and hopefully I could get some new episodes running, because there's a lot of music I want to show you guys. And the kind of music I'm into, if you haven't figured it out, is more, not fast, but upbeat music, more like chuggy, doesn't have to be gent, but if the riffs are kind of broken up a little bit, that's kind of a plus to me. Different time signatures are a plus to me. That shows a lot of talent. Drummer, if you can do polyrhythm, you got me hooked. So I have an old, like, when I mean old, I mean before I even started playing guitar. It was my friend's old cab. It was an old PV cab that he got cheap off someone, and it was all beat up. And I took the speakers out completely. I repainted it, but problem is, I only have a couple Neo Creambacks in it right now. I still need 2 speakers. That white cab that's there in the corner is what I'm talking about. It's literally just spray painted with a couple Neo Creambacks. It's a cheap cab, but I want to fix it up. Put a couple of decent speakers in this cab. It's probably gonna have a lot of high end to it, so I'm thinking something a little darker or mid heavy. I think greenbacks would be good, but I don't think the Neo Creambacks suit that very well. So I'll probably sell those, but I'm open to suggestions for this cab, and once I do a great demo and video and explain the history of this cab, I'll gladly get rid of it to one of my subscribers. Another thing I'm going to focus on is trying new microphones. I'll always do an SM57 for demos. I'll always do an SM57 to compare new speakers that I get, or different guitars or pickups or whatnot, different amps. I'll always use an SM57 because that's basically a control. As Kyle Bull says, that is the standard for metal these days. B30s, SM57, like, most people try to go for Mesa cabs, but as long as it's a decently built 412, they go for one of those, whether it's a Coffee Custom, a Mesa. I've heard a couple orange cabs that sound pretty good. Not a lot of them, but a couple of them sound good. I wonder if that's just like blind luck. You know how you get the diamond in the rough just randomly because of the way you built it, and you don't even know how you did it? I think it's a couple of those situations. It's like, it shouldn't sound that good, but it's amazing. Oh, of course, how could I forget? Angle cabs as well. Yeah, especially, I love the ones with the metal grating on front. I think they look extremely cool. But as long as it's loaded with B30s or something like that, it's gonna sound great. I'm trying to think about how to do it, but I'm also planning on making an episode explaining how useful my new laptop is to my creation services. Like, when I got my Mac, OBS worked, my Mac desktop, but once I uploaded a certain amount of things, it just stopped working. It won't even load now. So I got a new laptop, and I use that for all my live streaming and stuff like that. I can also show how simple it is to make a YouTube video of something like this, because basically I'm just using my phone, a tripod, and I'm just playing away. But there's still a couple other things, like I have a couple different types of tripods for different situations. I have a couple phones, an old phone that I use for live streaming, so that I could still use this phone to look at all my Twitch and YouTube settings and stuff like that while I'm streaming. I just want the camera from the old phone, so I'm able to put a second screen on this one screen. That's how I'm able to do the demo videos of me playing the guitar while showing the amp or microphone or whatever it is in the corner. I just realized I have a dual rectifier, but I don't even know what kind of tubes are in it. It doesn't really matter too much, but I'm still kind of curious. Is it EL34, 6L6, KT88? I think it's 6L6, but sorry, I'm just thinking to myself. Oh, I lost my job recently too. I don't want to be a downer, but if I make a bunch of videos like consistently, it's just because I'm bored and I have nothing to do around here except play guitar and make demos and videos and stuff. I don't have anything to take up my time during the day anymore until I get a new one. So, if I post a few videos a week, I'll try to keep it at a few videos a week. Ideally, I'll do one video a week, but if I make multiple videos a week is the point. That is the reason. It's because I'm literally just bored out of my mind, and I just wanna upload a video sooner than later so I can help other people out sooner than later. I got a video capture card recently, tested it out. I'm able to capture things off a TV screen, an Xbox, what's it called, a Nintendo Switch. Wow, excuse me again. Wow, burping, but I'm also able to get things off a PlayStation, but I don't know how to make content of that stuff yet. Like, what use would I have for the video capture card? Do you have any ideas? Is there anything you want to try and see? I just don't want to get hit with copyright or anything, so I have to be careful, but I am able to do that type of content though. So maybe I could do YouTube videos on the TV and I could just hang out with you guys or something like that. Oh, copyright. There goes my idea, but either way, I'm open to ideas. Video capture card. Let me know what to do with it. I can tell my ADHD is kicking in because I'm rambling on about a bunch of random stuff now. But I'm just letting you know what's going on with me and the channel. So I'm gonna stop rambling now that I noticed, and I'm gonna let you guys think about what you want to see. Let you think about what you want to see for videos in the future, and I'm just gonna let you go and let you do your thing. So everybody, stay happy, stay healthy, and keep making marvelous metal. Peace out. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't, like my video and subscribe. But if you don't want to, it's no big deal. It would just help me out. So, to everyone that subscribed, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm only getting more followers at this point, so it's a really good feeling. I feel like I'm actually doing something useful and not having a job that fulfills that need. I kind of need that right now, so thank you. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. I'm actually gonna go.